When you marry someone, you don't expect to be treated like a stranger by the people they call family. But from the moment we arrived in Hilton Head, I knew something was off. And by the time I was sitting alone at a separate table while everyone else laughed and clinked glasses like I didn't exist, I realized this wasn't just a weird quirk. It was a message. Loud and clear. I thought it was going to be a relaxing family getaway. Ocean breeze, long walks on the beach, maybe even a bonding moment with my in-laws. What I got instead? A front row seat to my own alienation. And the worst part? My husband, Mark, just let it happen. No protest. No pushback. Just a shrug and the words, "It's just their way." That line haunted me the whole trip. I smiled through clenched teeth. "Perfect," I said. "I have my own way too." And oh, they were about to find out just how different my way was. Looking back, all the red flags were there from day one. Little passive-aggressive digs from Susan, the cold stares from Richard, and Mark's uncanny ability to remain neutral no matter what they said or did to me. I chalked it up to nerves or maybe culture clashes. But deep down, I knew I was being treated like an outsider in my own marriage. Still, I stayed quiet. I smiled. I made excuses. I told myself love meant being patient. That if I just kept showing up, eventually they'd accept me. Eventually, I'd be part of the family. Spoiler alert, I never was. The resort looked like a postcard come to life. Pristine beaches, swaying palms, the kind of place influencers flex on Instagram. I genuinely thought this could be a reset. I let myself believe, just for a moment, that maybe things would be different. Maybe Susan and Richard would drop the Frosty act. Maybe Mark would finally step up. That illusion shattered faster than a wine glass on tile. First dinner of the trip. We walk into this upscale restaurant, dim lights, ocean view, the works. A long table is perfectly set up for our group. I instinctively move toward the seat next to Mark, but before I can sit, Richard raises his hand like a traffic cop. "Oh, there must be a mistake," he says, dead serious. "She needs her own table." I blinked, confused. I literally thought he was joking. "Excuse me?" I asked, trying not to sound as shocked as I felt. Susan didn't even look up from her menu. "It's just how we do things. Just how we do things." "Mark?" He looked at me with this mix of guilt and indifference. Shrugged. "It's just their way," he mumbled like he was ordering fries. So I sat. Alone. At my own table. Like a stranger. The waiter looked more uncomfortable than I did. I wanted to walk out right then and there. I wanted to scream. But instead, I forced a smile and picked at my salad while my so-called family laughed 4 feet away like I wasn't even there. I didn't cry that night. I didn't even get angry. I just watched. Absorbed. Let the reality sink in. I wasn't a guest. I was an outsider. And no one, especially not my husband, was going to change that. The next morning, I woke up early, still hoping maybe things would reset. You know how sometimes a night of sleep changes the vibe? I thought, maybe they were just tired. Maybe someone would knock on my door and say, "Hey, sorry about dinner. Want to grab breakfast?" Nope. I got dressed, grabbed my phone, and headed downstairs to the hotel restaurant. It was half full, the smell of coffee and bacon in the air, and the kind of soft background music that usually means good vibes. But there was no family waiting for me. I checked my texts, nothing from Mark. So I wandered around the resort for almost half an hour before I spotted them. All of them. Already seated at a massive round table by the window, mid-bite and mid-laugh. No empty seat. No plate set aside. Just them, and not me. I walked up, trying to stay chill. "Why didn't you tell me you came down?" Richard barely glanced up. "We assumed you'd figure it out." Susan stirred her coffee like she was in a commercial. "It's just how we do things." I looked at Mark, hoping he'd at least have the decency to look uncomfortable. But no, he was buttering a croissant like this was all completely normal. That's when it clicked. They didn't forget me. They didn't accidentally leave me out. They didn't want me there. At all. This wasn't a miscommunication. This was a decision. A pattern. And Mark? He had no intention of changing it. The rest of the trip? A full-on ghosting, but with people in the same zip code. Every meal, they forgot to invite me. Every outing? I found out through Instagram stories. One day they were on a boat tour. The next, a wine tasting. I caught them in the lobby once, all dressed up and laughing. I asked Mark later why he didn't text me. He just gave me that same dead-eyed shrug. It's just their way. By day 4, I gave up. I stopped trying. Stopped texting. Stopped asking where they were going or what the plan was. If they wanted me invisible, I'd go full Houdini. But they had no idea that while they were laughing on balconies and drinking overpriced Chardonnay, I was plotting my exit in silence. And not just any exit. I was going to burn the whole itinerary to the ground. That night, while they were out sipping wine and congratulating each other on being the world's most exclusive family, I was in our hotel room with a laptop and receipts. Literal receipts. Because guess what? I had booked everything. The resort? In my name. Rental car? My card. Dinner reservations? My account. Even the spa day Susan had circled in her planner like it was Christmas? Yep. Booked under me. One by one, I canceled it all. Their rooms? Gone. Their car? Canceled. Their fancy oceanfront dinner? Poof. The spa Susan had been bragging about for weeks? Bye. Then I packed my bags, grabbed the keys, and dipped. While they were raising glasses, I was already halfway to Charleston, blasting music and watching the road stretch out in front of me like freedom. I booked myself a suite overlooking the ocean, ordered the most bougie room service imaginable, and sat back on the balcony watching the waves roll in. For the first time in days, I could breathe. Back in Hilton Head, though? Chaos. The next morning, I woke up to 13 missed calls. Mark. Susan. Richard. Back to Mark. I didn't answer. I made my coffee. Stretched. Put my phone on silent. Let them wonder. I imagined Susan waking up, stretching in her robe, and grabbing her phone only to see nothing but cancellation emails. Richard at the door, greeted by a manager saying, "Sir, your room has been released." Mark realizing the car was gone. Their schedule? Toast. The longer I ignored them, the louder the panic got. When I finally opened my phone, the messages were unhinged. Mark, where are you? Mark, what is going on? Mark, you need to fix this. I picked up, purely for entertainment. Where are you? Mark demanded. Charleston. Silence. Charleston? What the hell are you doing there? Enjoying my vacation. Alone. I could hear voices in the background. Susan yelling. Richard cursing. You canceled everything? Yes. Do you know what you've done? My parents have nowhere to stay. Oh no, I said, fake concerned. That must be so uncomfortable. He went quiet. That's when I knew he remembered his own words. The same ones he'd tossed at me like a paper towel, it's just their way. I said it back to him in my head as I hung up. Then I ordered a mimosa. Turns out, things got worse. With the hotel fully booked, they ended up at some sad motel 20 minutes away. You know the kind of flickering lights, weird carpet smell, probably a vending machine from 1992. No rental car? Meant they had to Uber. And Hilton Head? Not exactly crawling with rideshare drivers. Surge pricing hit them like karma in digital form. Their once-in-a-lifetime dinner? Overbooked. Susan threw a meltdown at the spa trying to get in. They turned her away. She apparently cried in the lobby. How do I know? Angry texts from Mark. Mark, Mom is furious. Mark, Dad's losing it. Mark, I hope you're happy. Spoiler, I was. But that wasn't the twist. That came a few hours later. Mark's cousin Sarah messaged me. Sarah, hey, just heard what happened. Honestly? Good for you. I blinked. Sarah and I had always been chill, but not text me out of nowhere chill. Me, wait, what do you mean? Her response? Sarah, they did the same thing to Mark's ex-wife. My stomach dropped. Me, I thought they just grew apart. Sarah, that's what he told you? Yeah. That's what he told me. But Sarah kept typing. Fast. She said the ex-wife had also been ignored on a family trip. Separated. Ghosted. Dismissed. And she left halfway through. Filed for divorce a month later. And Mark? Mark knew. He watched it happen then too. I couldn't unsee it. Couldn't unfeel it. I sat there staring at my screen like it had slapped me across the face. Everything clicked. This wasn't a fluke. This was a script. And Mark had read his lines perfectly. Later that night, he called again. I answered. We need to talk, he said. No, I replied. You need to listen. He tried to defend it. Called it tradition. Family dynamics. Miscommunication. I cut him off. This wasn't about tradition. This was about control. And you let it happen. Pause. Who told you? Bingo. I didn't respond. He knew I knew. Mark started bargaining. My parents mean well. They're just difficult. They don't even see me as human. He was quiet. Come back, he finally said. We can fix this. I stared at the ocean, waves brushing against the shore like nothing ever happened. No, I said. I already fixed it. And I hung up. I wasn't angry anymore. I was done. But a thought lingered. If he lied about this, what else? I opened Facebook. Found Rachel, his ex-wife. Profile was private. But her sister? Lauren? Public posts. And one caught my eye. Never let a man's family destroy you. My sister deserved better. Never again. I kept scrolling. Then I found Sarah's comment from 2 years ago. I wish she had listened to us. At least she's free now. My stomach flipped. I had to know more. So I sent a message. Me, hey. I know this is random, but I think we need to talk. Lauren replied fast. Lauren, I was wondering when you'd reach out. Me, so you know who I am? Lauren, we've been waiting for this to happen. I froze. Me, what do you mean? Lauren, Rachel wasn't the first. And she wasn't the last. Lauren, they've done this before. Mark's family breaks people. And he lets them. I wanted to scream. Me, why didn't anyone say anything? Lauren, he isolates his partners. Makes you believe the family's just quirky. Sound familiar? I felt like I couldn't breathe. Everything was fake. Every smile. Every excuse. A game. And I was the latest piece. I didn't sleep that night. I replayed everything. Then at 6 a.m., a text from an unknown number. This is Officer Daniels from the Hilton Head Police Department. We need to speak with you regarding a missing persons report. I called back in full panic mode. I'm not missing, I said instantly. I'm fine. My husband knows exactly where I am. The officer sighed. He said you left without explanation. That he's concerned. Concerned? That was Rich. Officer, I'm safe. In Charleston. I left voluntarily. Silence. Would you like to file a request for no further contact? I took a breath. Yes. I would. That was my first legal move. And the start of the end. Not even an hour later, a message from Susan. Susan, I can't believe you would humiliate us like this. I laughed. Out loud. Then came more. Susan, you made Mark involve the police. Do you even care how this looks? Susan, this family has done nothing but try to welcome you. Susan, you're being incredibly selfish. And finally, Susan, if you don't come back, Mark is going to make things very difficult for you. That one hit different. It wasn't guilt. It was a threat. Part 16. I reread it like 5 times. If you don't come back, Mark is going to make things difficult for you. It wasn't subtle. It was calculated. That's when I realized this wasn't just a family playing games. This was a war. And I wasn't about to lose. So I booked a hotel conference room. Invited Mark, his parents, and Sarah. If they wanted drama, I was going to serve it live. The next morning, I sat at the long table, sipping water. Mark stormed in, fists clenched. Susan and Richard right behind him. Sarah slipped in last, giving me a nod. What is this? Mark barked. A conversation, I said. You think this is funny? Richard growled. No, I said calmly. I think it's sad. Susan narrowed her eyes. You abandoned us. I laughed. You ignored me for 4 days. Mark muttered, you're blowing this out of proportion. And that? That was my cue. I slammed my hands on the table. I am your wife, I said. Not some outsider. And you let them treat me like trash. Susan jumped in. It's our tradition. No, I snapped. It's abuse disguised as etiquette. I tossed my phone on the table. Read the messages. Mark scrolled. His face changed with every line. This isn't proof, Richard grumbled. Last night, I turned to Susan, you threatened me. She said nothing. Sarah blinked. You did what? Mark's voice dropped. Mom. Susan panicked. I just wanted her to understand. Mark rubbed his face. Jesus. The illusion cracked. Mark looked at me. I can fix this. I stood up. No. You can't. He reached for me. Please. No, I said. You talk. You excuse. I'm done listening. He looked lost. I'm leaving, I said. Susan scoffed. You can't just walk away from a marriage. I held her gaze. Watch me. And I walked out. It took 6 months to finalize the divorce. Mark tried every play in the book, begging, guilt-tripping, gaslighting. I ignored it all. Sarah kept me updated. Apparently, Mark finally saw through his parents. But by then, I was already gone. I moved to Charleston. New apartment. New job. New people. Then one night, a final message. Mark, I see it now. I'm sorry. I stared at it. And deleted it. For the first time in forever, I was free.